Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Panda Phil, and welcome to Toon Talk Live, where we talk about all things Toony and Toontastic. We have got the wonderful Smirky joining us, sharing their Toontown experiences as well as what they've been doing to raise money for charities such as St Jude Children's Research Hospital. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this, as well as being really patient because of last week. For those who don't know, we were meant to do the Q&A last week, and then
Yeah.
family things happened, and so I had to
Yes.
postpone it, which I do massively apologize for. But thank you so much for your patience.
No, it's all good. Life happens. I think, I'm very understanding of that. So, not a problem at all.
That's really kind of you. Thank you so much. And so, for those that are watching, I figured we can just do like a Q&A whilst having a relaxing game of golf, and that way I can't be too competitive, hopefully. So, for those who don't know who you are, who are you and what is your Toontown journey?
Yeah, so excuse me. Yes. My name is Smirky. I have pretty much grown up just as much as Toontown has grown up. So this game has been a part of my journey for a very long time, probably since 2008. So I had my run-in with Toontown Online at a young age, and have pretty much been around the Toontown private server circuit ever since the private server circuit began. Yeah, and I am primarily known as a content creator and live streamer here on Twitch. And really, Toontown is kind of what got the ground running for me. So there's definitely a lot of years of history, a lot of Smirky lore. Oh yes, in the Toonbook trenches with the rest of everyone. Yes, I was definitely a day one Toonbook user as well. It's been forever since I've thought about it, but correct. Yeah, there is a lot of history that I have come across in my time, and somehow on May 11th, 2026, I am still here and still kicking it and still doing amazing things with the community.
Absolutely. What you've been doing over your journey has been nothing short of incredible, and we will go into that a little bit later on. But one of the questions that came from the community, which I think is a really good question, is what got you into streaming in the first place?
I kind of just stumbled into it. So when it comes to my origin story as a streamer, it pretty much boiled down to me already having a YouTube channel that I was making. I started off with making silly little videos. And there's a little bit of lore there, but if you look past that, along the way, my YouTube channel pretty much uh I remember it got partnered. I had built up a few thousand subscribers, and I remember this banner appearing above my channel, like a horizontal banner, and it pretty much was hey, so we have this Google Plus social network, we have Google Plus Hangouts, right, which is basically the Zoom equivalent before Zoom was really cool and took off, especially during COVID. um and they had this on-air broadcasting feature that it said try now, and I was sure, why not? Let's just, let's try it. Let's see what happens. I go live. Quite literally tell people that I stumbled into it. And the first broadcast I ever did, uh, I honestly want to say it might have been either the or one of the first Toontown live streams, at least that I know of in terms of live streams. Summer of 2012. I don't remember the exact date, but all I remember was 20 to 30 people concurrently watching me, and a crowd suddenly forming around me in the game on my first stream with no like real streaming experience. And from that day on, I never looked back when it comes to starting out with streaming. I would stream to either a small audience or to about nobody, and like Toontown quite literally was at the beginning of it all.
Which is incredible to think. Like, yeah, it started off with Toontown and still here making fantastic content and just bringing a whole lot of joy to the community. And I also realized I'm going the completely wrong way. It's this way, isn't it, for a 6-hole course?
This would be a 6-hole course, yeah. I gotta get a win now because I lost.
And so with that in mind, with like starting with Toontown still being here, like you have been a key member of the Toontown community for all those years. What, like, looking at Toontown overall, and it doesn't, not just like Toontown written, but looking at the servers in general and just the overall community, what are some of the biggest changes that you have seen happen?
Some of the biggest changes I've seen happen. Let me think through this because I've seen a lot of change and I've seen a lot of like people come and go as well. I've seen a lot of like, I mean, obviously, first of all, with like the content creation landscape, a lot of like more editing and like, you know, algorithmic strategy behind people's content. But I just remember back in the day, like really enjoying different creators and like just the silly little videos that they put up, people uploading just about anything. It could be Toontown music videos, it could be game shows, it could be, you know, just silly little things that like you know, people just uploaded for the sake of like sharing something funny. So that was like one thing that has certainly changed over time. I would say I've also like started to see a lot less like, you know, I can't remember the last time that like I saw like a solid like Toontown hacker, because I feel like we talked
Yeah.
about this the other day on my stream, but like I feel like that like you don't get the lefties or the trap, you know, hackers anymore. You don't get the magic cats of the world. You don't really see any like hardcore hackers anymore on like Toontown games. Like back then, it was all the craze about how much of a problem it was to see hackers in the game. And now you don't really see them as much. So that is something in-game related that has definitely like changed. So like and then of course like the fall of Toontown Online and the start of, you know, Toontown Rewritten with the Yes Toonbook announcement, and the rest is history from there. But I remember seeing a lot of like, you know, things come and go with like Toontown Rewritten, like Storm Sabot, all that stuff.
That's the, yeah, so much has happened, and yeah, it's very quiet in terms of the hackers. Maybe something will suddenly appear and then it will be all crazy again. But I think
Yeah, all
what's,
because I said something.
yeah, you've triggered it. But I think it's really interesting about like what you said about the content creator landscape, because yeah, for me, I've like, just from my side of it, it has like, I've seen like small changes of it in the couple of years that I've been like streaming, and so it's like I'm seeing like how many like the changes in like content that's being made and also the content creators that are around. And even like where I've been spending a bit more time looking into YouTube a bit more, I like, because of the algorithm, I'm getting like all sorts of like Toontown content from like 8-9 years ago, and like, I've just got to watch it and just see some like rich history of Toontown content, and it's just so different, but I love it.
It is.
It's like,
Yeah.
it's like a finding a treasure chest of gold.
I mean, it really is, you know? I mean, you can't ever forget, like, Double Exposure's Level 7 Gags video, or, like, Princess Kate, Nuba Schuber, like, you know, taking on the VP at Low Laugh. And those were, like, the videos that, like, defined the community. And now it's, like, way different, in terms of the kinds of content that's out there. But, yeah, like, there are definitely names that, like, will stick out in the content side of the community for sure.
Absolutely. And so with like where that's been like the changes in terms of like the highlights, what's been your biggest highlights when it comes to Toontown?
So biggest highlights. I would say like I can answer part of it as a streamer, and then just like anything that like comes up to me. Like personally, I always like enjoyed the staff members like hopping on like Toon Troopers and Resistance Rangers and like seeing them in game, because that like kind of made me embody that like whole toony spirit of like the community, like just seeing these like super cool figures like running around the game, very similar to like Club Penguins, like you know uh Penguins, like the band, or Rockin' Hopper or whatever. Like I really was like so excited to like see a Toon Trooper join my party, or like a Resistance Ranger like join us for a VP. I also remember being so excited when Disney's like Get Connected show like dropped the collaboration with Toontown. So it was like when accessories were being announced, I was like coming back from a trip overseas with my family and pulled up the YouTube video in the airport, and I was like, oh my gosh, like they're adding accessories, and these hosts are going to be running around Toontown. And I ended up like doing buildings with them, and like it was those little moments that really like essentially just like made you know being in the community so like exciting for me, and just made me like embody that spirit that Toontown essentially wants you to carry forward, and build up from an early age. In terms of streaming highlights, there's not as much that I remember from like my earlier days of like streaming, because a lot of it was like streaming to maybe like 6 like people, and or like 2 people, like just going live and broadcasting for the sake of it. um but yeah, like I just kind of remember the more prominent like moments. So I remember maybe like a marathon here or two that like really brought like so many people in the community together. And I particularly remember one like highlight for Toontown Online. This is before Rewritten. Like I remember that everyone was so excited to celebrate the 10-year anniversary of Toontown. And I remember having started stream. There were hundreds of people watching me on YouTube, because I was a YouTube streamer before I decided to stream on Twitch, which can always be talked about a little later. And like I remember like trying to load into Toontown Central and loading into like the biggest Toon takeover of Toontown Central I had ever seen. And like streaming in front of like so many people in the community, and walking into the PowerPoint presentation that was Toontown Central. Oh, that was a close shot. Walking into the PowerPoint presentation that was Toontown Central was really like stunning to see the community come together to celebrate 10 years of Toontown Online, because of how much we all love this game. And it was a shame that it came right around the closing of Toontown, but that was like a really big like celebration that I will always like remember. It was, I think DCamp05 was the username of the person that like organized it, and I like helped promote it, and it was a really big deal. And I don't know, it's just like seeing the community come together, I think, is my like shorter answer. Just like the moments that stuck out to me, like the highlights that made this game so special. And getting to stream it and like share those experiences with others was always super, super cool. Which then ties into the highlights that I get on games like Toontown Rewritten, when I happen to be in passing and I see someone off to the side that's like, OMG, like, is that Smirky? Like, freaking out, like, recognizing me, which is kind of surreal in a way. Yeah, for Toontown Online, those were some big highlights for me. And then Toontown Rewritten came along when I thought that like I would not be able to make any Toontown content ever again, and I'd have to like find something else to make videos on or whatever. Toontown Rootin' came along and changed a lot of lives and kept the community together and definitely impacted my life too. So, yeah, that's my very long-winded answer. I like to ramble and yap, as you can probably.
Hey, I love it. I love the rambles because it just gives an insight as to like what like bit of your story and the highlights for you. I think it's what I find really interesting is about how you mentioned about obviously thinking that like when Toontown Online closed, thinking, oh well, that's it in terms of the content, but actually then Toontown Written came along. Now I asked this question to Joey a couple of weeks ago, and so I want to ask the question to you as well, which I know I haven't planned, but did you, when Toontown Written was launched, did you expect it to still be going to this day?
That's a good question. I mean, I really don't know. I mean, I don't think anyone really truly could have imagined how long like the lifespan of the game would go. I don't think when anyone started out, the goal was to outlast like Toontown Online. The goal was just to get something back on the table. So I would say I didn't think that like not out of like doubt, but just like I don't think it was even in the realm of like consideration for a lot of us in the community that like Toontown Rewritten would go on to, you know, be the server that, you know, brings the community back, withstands the test of time, even as like other projects come up and sometimes even rival it. Toontown Rewritten has stood firm and is like just this like, it really is just this like shining example of a server. And like, I mean, I don't know. It's just like, it's just really amazing because it brings that Toonie nostalgic feeling to so many people. It's the game that people hop on when they think about Toontown for the first time in a while. And the fact that people today can still have those experiences is like just really amazing. So yeah, I don't think I figured that Toontown Written would be around as long as it has, but it really is amazing with how long it's been around.
Yeah, it's crazy how long it's been, and like it's now, yeah, I said it's gone on for longer than Toontown Online, which is mad. But it's also just amazing how there are so many different other like servers out there that have taken different interpretations of what Toontown Online could have been, and there's more to come, which is just really exciting to see where the community is at the moment. And from there, I guess one of the things that I've always found really interesting about your streams in particular is that every so often like you get the wonderful joy of going to lots of different events such as DreamHack, and I got to go to DreamHack in the UK not long ago, and like it was amazing. And like it was cool because like I got to see people just streaming there and then, and I was like, this is a really awesome thing to do, which then got me thinking about actually like sometimes you are streaming Toontown in those events. So how do other streamers react in that event when they see that you're streaming Toontown?
I mean, I got answers that span from years of going to some pretty like big established events, right? Like DreamHack is one of those, which, you know, I think by the time this goes up, I will have just come back from like DreamHack Atlanta because that's coming up. And going to like stream and talk about Toontown at events has been like super fun, because people don't expect it when creators or other people in the industry ask for your story. They want to know your elevator pitch. They're curious about what you do. I don't think many of them expect someone to come out of the woodworks and say that they stream a game like Toontown. Maybe they think of Fortnite or Call of Duty or something. But like being able to share my like content as like a Toontown streamer has been really interesting, and I've had some pretty memorable conversations at DreamHacks, at TwitchCons, about like people's loves for Toontown that I unlock for them, because it's kind of like going in and you know, unlocking their memory vaults a little bit when I bring it up, and they're like, "Whoa, I remember playing that game with my family member, with my friends growing up. And like being able to share those experiences with them was really powerful to me. So the game is still up. That's so cool. Literally, someone in my chat the other day asked like if Toontown was still like you pay memberships to like you pay monthly. But no, people are still learning that Toontown private servers like Rewritten and Corporate Clash, they have their games out there for free, and they're all internally funded by volunteers, and they won't accept your donations. They won't apply microtransactions. It's all for the love of the game, right? There very much is a decent amount of people that are not as familiar with Toontown's story, and it's really cool as a creator to be able to tell that story of a beloved community that is tight knit, that you know, is not like the most watched category on Twitch or anything, but is just like, you know, just beautiful in its own right. And yeah, just being able to kind of, I guess, like more or less represent the community after all this time. Not that I'm like the representative. People might joke that I'm the Toontown mayor, which I'm not. They mistake me for the other blue dog, I think. But
I think so.
yeah. No, the game is just like, you know, it just means a lot to me, like it does to a lot of other people, and it's cool to be able to talk about it with others. I have, you know, seen other large creators like make videos, essays of the game, or they've streamed the game on their channels. You'll hear about like high profile creators that get around to streaming Toontown. In 2016, a year after I did my first Twitch stream, Tim the Tatman had rated me, I think, twice on Twitch with like over like, I don't know, like 10,000 viewers easily.
Wow.
Because he was already streaming it on his channel for like a couple days. He went around rating different creators. I'm pretty sure I have video footage of him rating me once. I'm pretty sure he rated me twice. So we have like, there's a history of like high profile creators like trying the game. I remember also the other quick story. Fast forwarding to TwitchCon San Diego in 2022. I got invited by the partnerships team to like it was like this golfing event. Like you get to San Diego a couple days early, and then they bus you all to like one of the golf courses in the nearby area. And it was a bunch of like Twitch streamers. There were some high profile ones, like Nate Shot was there, and a bunch of these like partners that had like managers, and then there's just little old me who streams Toontown, like hopping in the golf cart, which is fitting because we're playing golf right now. But as I arrived at the venue, I bumped into Tifu, and he was like on the bus with me, and I mentioned what I stream while I introduced myself, and he was like, "No way, like you stream Toontown? That's so cool. I've like played it for a long time." And he like ended the conversation with like, you know, go drop pianos on those cogs, right? Like just making the out of left hand comment. And I'm just thinking to myself, this is so cool that like, you know, this silly little game that I just like started streaming for fun ends up creating connections with all these people that I never thought I would even remotely get to meet, greet, talk to, in a lot of cases make like genuine friendships with. It's crazy who you rub elbows with in this space. And I never imagined that because I started streaming this game that my journey could go where it has, in terms of establishing myself as a creator, in terms of making an impact in the world. I don't know. And it's all just because I like this game, and I just like connecting with people in chats and in real time. And I could yap literally forever. You'd be so nervous, scared to introduce yourself. Yeah, like, I don't know. I definitely for a long time, like, idolize, you know, these creators that get the views, they get the money, they get the audiences. But for me, it was sorry if I'm skipping ahead just a little bit, but it was me going to my first St. Jude Play Live Summit, and Dr. Lupo was there, and he had raised so much money for St. Jude, but I realized very quickly after finally saying hello that I had no reason to be nervous to talk to him, and very down to earth, very genuine, like, conversations that, made me realize that, like, there's just, you know, we're all just like here creating and, banding together with our communities and making a difference, and they really are just people at the end of the day. I'm just a person. I'm just a broke 20-something-year-old at the end of the day. But I got people that look up to me and have for a very long time, which is flattering, and I'm very grateful for it. So yeah, I'm talking way too much. So
No, I love it. It's just so good. And like, I mean, you spoke about St. Jude, and we will be going into that because I'd love just to explore that a bit more. But I guess before we do so, the one question I do have, which I feel like you have sort of touched on quite a few times already, which has been wonderful, is like, and I asked it to everyone that I interview for this Q&A, is what does Toontown mean to you?
what does Toontown mean to me? Community is part of it, but that can't be exactly my answer. Toontown to me, if I think of it personally, if I remove all the streaming, all the community-oriented stuff that I love to do, and I just, if I'm playing Toontown, I think of how colorful and vibrant the world is. I think about that Disney charm. I think about just, how much of an impact cartoons had on many of our lives, including my own. Just being able to, like, see this world that is bright, even when, something like a corporation, something like capitalism is coming in and trying to, to take it over for its own evil needs. We're fighting back, and we're, hitting them with jokes and pies in the face, and there's just something so charming about it that when I think about what Toontown means to me, it just means that the world, the world can be playful, and it can be beautiful, and it is beautiful. It is playful. The people that you meet and the memories that you make stick with you for a lifetime. And I mean, if you ever walk into like Mickey's Toontown at like a Disney park, you're filled with that sense of curiosity and wonder and silliness, and that's exactly what like Toontown embodies, that I think everyone has and everyone can continue to learn from. So yeah, of course, like, being able to build a community around this game has been like the coolest opportunity. And at the end of the day, like, I love Toontown just as much as the next player. I am a player at heart, and I just, this game kind of just means everything. It means a lot to me. It's how I formed some of my most genuine friendships, whether it's within Toontown or, in the case of being a creator, beyond it further than I ever could imagine. So I don't know where my life would be without, like, Toontown. I feel like I would be a very different person without playing this game as much as I have. So that is what this game means to me. It means so much, and that really is just me speaking from my own personal side rather than like trying to encompass the community sentiments, which I typically do as like a creator and like someone that cares about the people around me a lot. But when it comes to my own like impact, or like my own ways that the game has impacted me, that would be like my answer. So yeah, and it's funny because the one other thing I forgot to mention was like the whole reason I have a Toon is because like my sister found Toontown in the first place. She's the one that like found the website, made an account. We shared the account, and then I eventually got my own a little bit later. She ended up like going into more different games and stopped playing after a while I was doing the streaming thing. But it quite literally, I didn't even find it. Like it was her that found Toontown, and I stumbled into it. I don't know why I'm good at stumbling into things, but that, you know, she's a big reason for me to like even be involved with Toontown and fall in love with this game as much as I have.
That's really, I love that. Okay, so sorry about your sister, but also just like how much it means to you. And also, I just
Yeah.
want to like highlight the fact that you gave such a really like in-depth answer whilst also doing a hole-in-one on a really awkward goal. I was like, how? I was in absolute shock. I was like, how are you like casually still going in this really in-depth like answer
know,
for hole-in-one?